like to call to order the meeting of Monday, February the 28th. If you please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The clerk would please take the roll.
Councilmember Archibald. Councilmember Ashford.
Present.
Councilmember Lamb.
Here.
Councilmember Mosherak.
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Here.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Here.
Mayor Rep.
Here. You have the minutes before you from the regular meeting of February the 14th. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Support.
Councilmember Ashford, supported by Councilmember Mosherak. Is there any changes to the minutes? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes will stand as submitted, and we'll move on to presentations. If the clerk would please read the first one.
Chief Joseph Platzer will present the annual Police Department report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So tonight I'd like to present the annual 2021 report for the Police Department. So if you just want to sit back, give me about a half an hour, we'll get through this.
Okay.
Now, I provided you a hard copy that was completed by Officer Sam Baker, so I'd like to give him the credit. He puts this all together for us. And this will be going online on our homepage, our Facebook page, probably within the next 2 or 3 days. So just a couple of the highlights from the department for the year. Just some of the new hires that we have. So we also have Officer Kane, Officer Tomlinson, and Officer McCullough. Chelsea comes to us from Port Huron. She was a Port Huron Northern graduate. She left, went over to Minnesota on a college scholarship, was working over there for 3 years, and she recently came back to Port Huron. Nate Tomlinson was a police cadet, Port Huron Northern graduate, and we were able to send him to the academy through the Hometown Hero program. And then Rebecca McCullough, she came to us from White Lake Township, but she was also a police cadet with their agency, and she has family in this area, and we were able to hire her recently. We hired a new animal control officer, Officer Brian Roski. Brian's born and raised here in Port Huron, and he is now working for us for about the last 7 to 8 months. Retirements, Lieutenant Brian Georgia, with almost 27 years of experience, retired this year, and he's moved on to his next adventure in life. We had some promotions this year. Detective Ryan Sheedy was promoted to sergeant, Officer Hunger was promoted to detective, and Sergeant Chris Bean was promoted to lieutenant. We also had some organizational change within the agency. Administrative Lieutenant Brian Kerrigan was promoted to captain, and then Captain Marcy Kuhn was promoted to assistant chief. If we look at the statistics for this year, I'm happy to report that 8 of our categories have seen major decreases in crimes. Calls for service is up this year by 5.8% increase, but that's due to now people getting out past COVID, and we're seeing more people out and about, so calls for service has increased. Our crime reporting has decreased just a fraction, but we've got a huge increase in our citizen online reporting, the TIP 411. So now the old system, when you call in on the capture program, we have an app, you can text, and so those tips can now be sent electronically, and it makes it easier for the police officers. We receive them very quickly, we can follow up on them, and we were making a lot of good arrests from our citizens who's reporting these crimes.
Does that all, I'm sorry, can I ask?
Sure.
Does that all still go under the capture thing here?
Yes.
This is okay.
So it's part of capture, but it's that TIP 411
Oh,
program.
okay.
Juvenile adult arrests, we saw an increase of 8.6%. But here are the categories that we've seen some major decreases in. Criminal sexual conduct, down 26%. Arsons, 25% decrease. Homicide, 67% decrease. We went from 2-1. Auto theft, 29% decrease. Larcenies, 15% decrease. Home invasions, 9% decrease. Robberies, 33% decrease. And the reason why the robberies are down too is that we had a serial robber that was taken into custody by our major crimes unit. And since then, he's been convicted, and he's now serving over 45 years in prison. Wow. So I don't want to jinx ourselves, but knock on wood, our robberies have decreased. Our malicious destruction of property is 21% decrease. And that's all from the good work of the men and women of the police department, being out there, being proactive, and doing good follow-up investigation, good investigations from the beginning. Trafficking violations, we saw an increase, so that means our officers are out being more proactive. Parking violations, we saw a 22% increase. We've now gone from writing paper parking tickets to electronic parking tickets. Wow. So it makes it easier for the officers to write the summons. Vehicle pursuits, we went from 11 down to 10. And then operating under the influence. We saw a decrease here, and the assistant chief and I were just talking about this before we came up here. And with more people that's driving under the influence of narcotics, we were surprised to see the decrease in operating under the influence. Our officers are out there being proactive, but we saw a slight decrease in OWI in this area. Accidents are up. Our injury accidents are up, but across the country, accidents are up during the pandemic. Road rage incidents, fatal accidents, people getting out on the road, and we don't know if they're just taking it out on other people. But not only did Port Huron see an increase, but the whole country saw an increase in accidents for the 2021 year. And we went from 2 fatals down to 1 fatal during the same time period. The new categories that we're looking at, charged domestic assaults, we saw a 10% increase. Again, during the pandemic, people are inside the house, cooped up, so we've seen an increase of our officers answering more domestic violence calls. Mental health calls, we saw a decrease here, and I think it's our partnership with community mental health and our officers having better training in this area that we're able to better assist our citizens in this category. Unfortunately, we saw an increase in overdose last year. 15 of the 115 resulted in death, but 87% save rate though. So that means that our police, fire, EMS are getting to the scene quicker. They're able to administer Narcan and getting them to medical treatment a lot sooner. So yes, we had 15 deaths, and it's tragic, but out of those 115 overdoses, 80% save rate.
Is that crack or is that heroin?
Heroin. We're still seeing the major drugs in the city of Port Huron, St. Clair County is heroin, meth, and then cocaine is seeing a comeback. Just some of our highlights for the year. We're big into our community-oriented policing. Again, Officer Tinsel there got a lot of good reviews. It was our new officer sworn in during the Christmas time. Officer Sly, she raised over $30,000 for 9-year-old Mason Warner, who was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. And with her effort, she was able to purchase the family a wheelchair van for the child. Officer Heisman was up at the schools. The kids dressed up as police officers today for the school.
Really cute.
Officer Hunger at the time, our community service officer with the trunk or treat. Our community, the Chiefs Community Resource Champions. I'm happy to say that we've been going strong. We started that back up in September of 2020, and since that time we've had 7 meetings with our community resource champions where we can have hard, honest dialogue about what's going on in the city of Port Huron, what's going on with the Port Huron Police Department, and then it's our opportunity to field questions as to what the citizens are seeing and hearing in the city. And then Officer Phillips on Operation Transformation during boat night last year. My last two slides here, this is a photo of the department that was taken prior to our award ceremony last year. And I just want to give credit to the men and women of the Port Huron Police Department. From our civilian staff, our cadets taking the walk-in reports, our clerical typing the reports, to the men and women that are out in the streets answering the calls for service. They do a great job. It makes my job a lot easier. It makes my team, Assistant Chief Huron, Captain Kerrigan's job, knowing that we got the best of the best out on the street, keeping the citizens of Port Huron safe, keeping the citizens that visit our community safe, and they're the ones that weren't allowed to stay home during the pandemic. They're the ones that come in and day out and are answering these calls for service. And my hat is off to them, and I've got the utmost respect for our officers and our department. And the last thing, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the council, the city manager, just for your continuous support of the police department. My employees, you're always there for them. Every time that I see you, you always have a compliment for them. And everything that I've brought to you all, whether it's a project, whether it's equipment purchase to make the officers safer, equipment purchases that can make the citizens safer, you've always supported me and my staff. Again, the AC and the captain know that sometimes I don't like to sit still. I got a project going. I wonder why it wasn't completed yesterday, and it's not completed, tomorrow. So we've got a great team. We've got a great city. We've got a great city council, city manager that I speak with all the time, and I just want to say thank you on behalf of the members of the department for your continuous support of myself and my agency. So that's the report. You have more detailed report there, and I'll answer any questions at this time.
Well, thank you very much. We're very proud of our police department, and thank you for the job well done, and nice to see the decreases that happened during the year too. Does anyone on council have any comments that they'd like to make?
I have one.
Yes, go ahead.
Chief, I know we do a lot. We were in the past, we were doing a lot in this area and everything, and I know it's a hard job, but I do appreciate, the coverage that you give, you and your officers throughout the city of Port Huron. And then I was just wondering, in terms of new hire and people of color, do we have any kind of new recruiting methods to get more people of color or cadets to come in?
Yes, so actually Assistant Chief Huron just completed our recruiting plan for 2022.
Excellent.
We're looking at colleges, we're looking at our Explorer program, we're looking at our youth academies, our elementary academy. I'm in constant contact with Kevin Watkins from NAACP. These are conversations that we have all the time, and we are trying to recruit from every area of the city, every college, every school, and trying to really sell our agency as why anybody, male, female, white, black, it should be coming to our agency and working.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I know we've been at it for sometimes we have success. We had some in the past, as you know, but I just want to make sure that we were still, kind of focused there, trying to make a difference in that area.
Yes.
But certainly appreciate it. And I think to your credit, we don't have them here, but I certainly, out in the community, see you some everywhere from north to south, to east to west, and making your presence and your officers there. If it's a dinner or something, or NACP, you're there, you're counted. So it's not like throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but we just can't forget and leave that, because there's still some more progress that we have to make that way to make it a little bit better for us all here in the city of Port Huron, to see people look like America there a little bit. I mean, not look like America, look like we need it to look like. Yeah.
And we're always looking at better ways how we can do business better. I mean, I love it when citizens come up and say, hey, your officers are doing a great job, your department's doing a great job, and I take those compliments and pass it on.
Right.
But I also ask them, what can we improve on? How can we improve our services to the community and the citizens we serve? So.
Well, your bar graph, when it went up with the increase as far as online, I mean, that's good. That's good encouragement, you know, because you do have that engagement with our community. So that speaks volumes also. So thank you very much for the good job you and your staff.
Anyone else have any comments? Thank you again, and a round of applause for the police department. Move on to public hearings. First one, please.
To hear comments on the proposed 2022 Annual Action Plan.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council on public hearing number 1? Seeing no one, declare public hearing closed, and we'll move on to public comment. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council this evening on any item that's on the agenda or that is under our jurisdiction, please come forward, give us your name.
Good evening, Mayor,
4 minutes.
council members. My name's Ken Harris, live on Wells Street in Port Huron. I guess a couple things I want to talk about today is number one, it's a compliment to the Department of Public Works. Last year, following a snow event, I was out meandering in the neighborhood, and I noticed that there was a water leak in the the 18th and Wall Street area, and honest to God, an hour and a half they were out there repairing it.
Wow.
So while the plows are out in the street, the Department of Public Works still carried on. But while we're talking about this same thing and stuff, you know, I'm still out there. I try to put my miles in every day. But, you know, this winter has probably, for even the light of winters has probably been the hardest winter in a long time to navigate. We have businesses on Lapeer Avenue that have not shoveled once this year. And I can also tell you another one. The area from Petit Street all the way down to the viaduct down below has not been done one time this year. You know, and number one, you know, if you look up the code ordinance, the ordinance says that you're responsible for these adjacent properties. And this is just some of the areas. And it just bothers me that we could have an enterprise out there. This guy's trying to sell 40 and 50 cars, but he can't clean the sidewalk in front of it. Have a big shop down there, and one of the employees, he come out of U.S. Ferrethane, and where does he go? He comes down to Petit Street, and he has to take that pathway to get through the viaduct. I just think that, you know, I don't know what it is. We have the rules. Somehow we've got to wake the people up. You know, I mean, this winter's just about done, but I think it's something we can do. The other thing I want to compliment you on is the fact that under your goal purpose, your goals, number one, is still to revisit the neighborhoods. And our neighborhood is kind of designated as Harrison Point, and it's starting to slide again. It's kind of going back. We've been there since 1965, and it's had its ups and downs, but it's starting to slide again. We've got a burned out house that I think it's at 12th and Pearl Street. We've got a group of homes over on 15th Street that haven't had any attention, and I think it's just neglect. And I hope that, I'd like to see us go back to the deal we used to have, it's many years ago, but where we adopted in May, the community, the city, and the churches and stuff adopted homes in these neighborhoods, and we paid attention and did something to kind of spruce them up. We've got to change the culture. Like I say, I think the culture in our area is changing again, and it's not for the good. And finally here, something I just picked out in the paper, it was on the paper on the 26th, and it's a citation for 2 of our factories that are putting contaminated water out. And one is Bueller Brass, the other one is Dunn Paper. And I guess the one part that kind of questions me is the notice that in the one for, let's see, what is it for here? It's for one of them, and it says that they were failure to accurately report non-compliance of putting this water in that's processed. And the other one doesn't have this compliance issue, but it's under a public notice in the Times Herald and stuff, and I just think that it's something the public should know that, you know, what's Bueller Brass doing and what's Dunn Paper doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening under public comment? Seeing no one, I'll declare public comment closed, and we will move on to, from the city manager, number 1.
Consent?
Oh, I'm sorry, completely forgot it. See, I was going to take that right out of there. Consent agenda, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Councilmember Ashford and Councilmember Pemberton, and we'll take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes?
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. We have 3 items on the consent agenda, authorizing the conveyance by quitclaim deed the city's interest in various properties to the Port Huron Neighborhood Housing Corporation to be used as rehabilitation projects or development to provide affordable housing in the low and moderate income home buyers. Approving the scheduling of a public hearing for March 14th, 2 public hearings, one to hear comments on the establishment of an obsolete property rehabilitation act known as an OPRA for 402 Quay Street for the district, and then another public hearing to actually approve the application for the obsolete property rehabilitation act certificate for 402 Quay Street. And we will then go to, from the city manager, number 1.
Accepting the quote from Stainless Cable Solutions in the amount of $28,502.03 for perimeter fencing around the Beer Garden, Main Plaza, and North Stage at the McMorran Place Plaza.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Mosherak, supported by Councilmember Lamb. Is there any discussion? I think Mr. Freed is going to give us an update on that.
Yeah, this is the fencing that goes around the perimeter. Remember, we have a splash pad there with kids. We have a little green space for people to run. We want to put a physical barrier between the streets and those activity centers. So if Lucy decides to take off running, I can grab her before she makes it to the road.
She might want to fly.
Yeah, these kids are fast. We're really, I think it's just, again, we're trying to look at, this is going to be a family place. There'll be a splash pad there, there'll be entertainment there, and so this goes along with making sure it's safe for kids.
Any questions for Mr. Freed? Thank you. We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. Item 2, please.
Accepting the quote from National Business Furniture in the amount of $15,384.52 for outdoor dining furniture at the McMorran Place Plaza Beer Garden.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Mosherak.
Madam Mayor and Council, this is for the furniture within the beer garden. The reason for the single source is they have it in stock. We would like to have furniture for the summer 2022, not 2027. And so they're the only ones in stock, and so we just want to get this furniture here before June. We literally have had lead times of 20 weeks to get this furniture.
We don't have a picture or anything of it, do we?
We do. Carter, do you have a photo up there of the furniture?
Maybe.
I hope it's nice. I haven't seen it here, so Nancy picked it out. So if it's bad, Nancy Windsor's the one to blame. That's a sample set of it.
Is that weed, Nancy?
It's the fiberglass. It's the hybrid plastic.
The plastic, oh, okay.
Basically a composite.
Yeah.
That's relatively good taste for Nancy. Good job.
Yeah. Very nice.
You're real nice.
It does look nice.
Does look very nice.
It's nice. So you can see they have the string lights up over the outdoor patio right now out there. They're not turned on, but it will be mimicking downtown. So it should be a really nice vibe.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
No, I'd just like to mention, just for the public, this is both being taken out of McMorran Fund, correct? And we got that there, or Nancy says McMorran Fund?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to mention money for the company.
Thank you. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 3, please.
Accepting the bid from Raymond Excavating Company in the amount of $2,265,090.02 for the Fort Street reconstruction project.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Mosherak.
Madam Mayor and Council, this is a complete reconstruction of the physical street, including underground utilities. Those water lines there are close to 100 years old, if not older. We're kind of, if you can tell, we're kind of systematically taking out this area between, we did the Quay Street reconstruction, the Michigan reconstruction, the Beers reconstruction, the McMorran reconstruction, the Fort Street reconstruction. This will be significant going from Quay all the way to Beers. So in the middle of the summertime, we will have to move some activities onto Main Street that Kiefer Park normally would have been for, just because getting traffic over this, dirt, construction site will be difficult. I want to thank our partners in that area. So we met with adjoining property owners, we met with business owners, we met with the court administrator, we met with the county to talk about what this would look like for their operations. This will see an increase of more than 56 on-street parking spots along there. We'll be going from angle parking, from parallel parking to angle parking to create more parking there. As you got to believe, as the Wrigley Center comes online and the grocery center comes online and all the amazing stuff that Mr. Harrison is doing at Quay Street, we're going to need additional parking. So this factors in additional growth down there.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember.
I understand correctly, James, we're removing those boulevards out of there, and that's what's going to make the additional room for parking?
Correct. We're removing the boulevards, shifting the road to the north to create more green space on either side, and then going to angle parking.
Correct. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a comment. I like the fact that it's been strategic, how we're doing that here, because I think each time we're being strategic on this, we save money and we collectively making this whole area come to life with more upgraded and more, what do I want to say?
You remind me of a good point that I didn't bring up. We are actually in this project scope removing Bard Street from Fort to Merchant on the side of the Chase Bank building.
Okay.
We work with the county and we work with the owner of the Chase Bank building. Well, now it's just a building for the Dr. Jerry's place. That road sees very little to no traffic. And it can be an essential green space to buttress Kiefer Park. So when we have music in or rock in the river, instead of people sitting on an empty street, they can be sitting on more greenway and parkway. And so the environmental impacts of removing unnecessary concrete to create more green space down there. And so we've worked with, again, all those adjoining property owners to get their buy-in on those changes.
Okay. You said it better than I could have said it. It's a good thing.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Significant project, many years in the works here. These things come, there's a lot of design, we started meeting with business owners 2 years ago about this to start having the conversations. And so I thank Eric Witter and his very capable team.
Yeah, and I think we had the conversation somewhere where we were around the table, and now to see it really come to fruition is great. Yeah.
When is it going to start, the project?
So you're going to award this contract tonight, and as soon as we get some frost laws done, we'll start moving equipment in.
Good. We will take the vote then.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Go on to resolutions, number 1.
Approving the agreement with the Detroit Edison Company for removal of 11 streetlights along Fort Street and refeed other streetlights that have been identified as critical as part of the Fort Street reconstruction project.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton, is there a second?
Second?
Councilmember Lamb. Is there any discussion?
Dry.
We will take the vote.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 2.
Accepting grant funds from the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy for the purpose of asset management planning and distribution system material inventory, and approving the agreement with Tetra Tech of Michigan PC for professional engineering services to update the city's water system asset management plan.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember
Support.
Ashford, supported by Councilmember Pemberton.
Madam Mayor and Council, I congratulate the DPW team for being proactive and looking for funding sources. As you are aware, inventory of lead service lines and planning an asset management program around that is something that we'll be doing for the next 5 to 10 years. This will help us identify more than 300 lead service lines and put them into a process for replacement.
Any questions for Mr. Freed?
Glad to see that grant funding.
Yeah, definitely. Take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes?
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 3.
Approving the customer service agreement with UniFirst Corporation to provide for uniform services for various city personnel.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember
Support.
Mosherak. Is there a second? Support. Councilmember Lamb.
Madam Mayor and Council, this is no cost increase. They're doing a great job. We've been very satisfied with them. If it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing.
Thank you. Is there any questions? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 4.
Approving the agreement with the American National Red Cross to utilize the Palmer Park Recreation Center as a facility to provide shelter during a disaster.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton, supported by Councilmember Lamb.
Madam Mayor and Council, again, this is one of our collaborative partnerships with our community stakeholders on thinking about what happens if the power goes out, what happens if we need a place to keep people warm. It's unlikely that the whole city loses power at the same time. Typically, it's neighborhoods or regions. One of the things we will be doing is we'll be working with our electrician in JCI to install a backfeed switch into Palmer Park, and then we're going to look at a portable generator for the time being, but in the coming months, I'll probably bring you a generator proposal as well. One of the things as well is if we do end up constructing a new central station, there's a used generator at Central Station that we could relocate to Palmer. Because if the power goes out and we need a place to be warm, Palmer needs power as well. And so we're looking at a backup power source there. But I appreciate the leadership of the American Red Cross on identifying these sites in advance. We put them in our emergency contingency plans and our operations plans. We make them aware to the public. So if something does happen, the public knows years in advance of where's a safe place to go, where's a warm place to go.
Any questions?
Yeah, Mayor Rep.
Yes, Councilmember.
Where was the previous shelter?
We've always used Palmer Park, but this will be more formal designation in the part of their planning.
Okay, so that has been the only place we used was Palmer Park.
Not at all. We use Palmer Park. We've partnered with the Port Huron Housing Commission to use their community centers as warming centers or cooling centers as needed. We've looked at the Harvey Reinvestment Center as well. So we have a whole matrix of different facilities throughout the city. So this is just one of many facilities that we will bring online if need be, based on capacity needs.
Oh, okay, because I was thinking on the capacity and then the distance, that's the north end and the south.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes?
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 8.
Approving the agreement with Johnson Controls Incorporated for performance contracting project development of the 3 city facilities identified as the Palmer Park Recreation Center, McMorran Arena and Theater, and the Department of Public Works facility located at 1812 Bancroft Street.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Ashford, supported by Councilmember Mosherak. Mr. Freed.
Madam Mayor and Council, I appreciate the work session before this meeting. We were able to go through the scope of work and really do a deep dive. I know that was off camera, and so for the public, they didn't get to see it. This will be one of the largest infrastructure renewal projects that we do within the city. We have not had the means to invest in safe public spaces. We have not had the means to invest in energy efficient public spaces. The American Rescue Plan, just like urban renewal did back in the 60s, provides us with a once in generational opportunity to reinvest in these very important public facilities. Palmer Park is a key community center, is used by thousands and thousands of visitors on a weekly, daily basis. McMorran has become just alive again with the amazing work that Rob and Nancy and the McMorran Commission have achieved in the last few years and really become an economic driver. And our public works facility to keep those essential services going in a modern, efficient way. This will focus on mechanical, electrical, HVAC systems, really to focus on the operational efficiency of those buildings, air quality of those buildings, make sure that that is the best, safest place for public to be, specifically in Palmer Park and McMorran. Also, fire alarm systems. A lot of people don't know this, but McMorran doesn't have a fire alarm system. So you have thousands of people in a building with no alarm system and no flashers and no siren should something happen. So this is, again, we're doubling down on the investment within these key facilities. This builds on many, many years of maintenance that we have invested in these facilities. But like all depreciating assets, there comes a point when you have to reset the clock, and that time is now. And so we're thankful for our federal partners for allowing us this opportunity to invest these dollars. The benefit is we're investing in these facilities now using our American Rescue Plan funds, but the community as a whole will reap the dividends of reduced operational costs for next 25 to 30 years. Those reduced operating costs can be then reinvested to other key public services like police, fire, and recreation.
Is there any questions for Mr. Freed?
Well, just a comment, just a thank you for the work session, because I think our questions were answered during that time, so I won't prolong it, won't be redundant in it. But I do think this is very good, and this is what the ARP was meant to do, to kind of play catch up with our municipalities and doing some work on things that we would originally have to really throw money at. But this is going to cause a huge savings for us in the long run, and our people will actually benefit from these funds.
And I take this moment to applaud the mayor and the council. If you Google American Rescue Plans, I've seen some crazy things going on across the country. A lot of people who have taken these resources and made them into political footballs. You all have not done that. You've done the due diligence to make worthy long-term investments into the community. And I think this is very significant. This is something that, you know, generations will look back on and say, I'm really glad back in the day this was done. Just as we look back on the projects invested in this community back in the 60s and 70s as well. So this is a very meaningful, a very strategic investment that future generations will become to appreciate.
Yeah, and then we don't have to meet ourselves coming out the back door, because like I said before this meeting, you know, you dump off, it's like winning the lottery or something. You get all this money and you just go have it, you know, trying to do everything. But when it runs out, where are you and how can we maintain this? You know, we won't have that. But this way, we will be that much ahead of the game. So, so that's a good thing for us. And I might add, just to the public and for my fellow council members, when we go on, I think Pauline does that too sometimes, you know, when we're online and we hold these meetings at a state level, how far in advance that the city of Port Huron is. You know, I'll beat you up when you need beaten up, but in this particular case, you know, I was able to throw out my spreadsheet, you know, on this meeting, called me and they said, my God, you guys got that done, you know, already. You know, we have that because you got to be ready to go, because these funds aren't there for, you know, for life. So, you know, we had the jobs plan money coming in, we had COVID money being dumped in here, we had ARP. I mean, everyone just seemed like it's just money just flowing all over the place. So whether you're Democrat or Republican, this money was supposed to be put out there to help us get that jump start and what we need. And so we are being very prudent and very intelligent about how we're going about doing this, and intentional, I may add.
One of the side effects of being so financially distressed for so many years is we always daydreamed about what would we do if we had money. So we had a lot of time to think about it.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of years of making a wish list of what we could fix and invest in. And so the needs are so apparent when the resources come, it just makes sense.
Thank you, James.
Well, this is a wonderful opportunity for us, no doubt. Is there any other questions or comments? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Moserak?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes, item 9, please.
Approving the allocation of American Rescue Plan funding to the YMCA of the Blue Water area in the amount of $130,375 over the course of 3 summers for the purpose of providing community wellness programming to all residents of the city of Port Huron at no charge.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Oh, here we go. Councilmember Pemberton, supported by Councilmember Mosherak. You almost did that simultaneously.
Right. Just like we planned.
Yes. Do you want to?
Yeah, Madam Mayor and Council, before you, you have an agreement with the YMCA to provide wellness programming 6 days a week, 4 times a day at the new McMorran Plaza and the new McLaren Main Stage. McLaren Hospital, again, sponsored that main stage with the hope that we would construct it and provide a culture of wellness within our community. We are blessed that we have wellness experts in our community at the YMCA. They have been doing this for many, many years. They run a terrific operation. We have tonight with us their CEO, Josh Chapman, here. We appreciate Josh being a good collaborator. When we reached out with this idea, it was just a natural partnership, and him and his team stood up and brought this proposal for us. This is about equity and a resource and an asset. We want free admission, so anyone in the city of Port Huron can come to this plaza. It really, truly will be a town square, a place for everyone. Come, take a class for free, bring your family down to a family class together. Really, we want to cultivate this wellness culture within our community. Not only is it a culture of wellness, but it's an economic driver, bringing people to the downtown multiple times a day, multiple times a week, to really experience what downtown has to offer. So you can come, do your exercise class, and then go have a donut at Chef Chef's.
You don't want to have the donut afterwards.
Before.
How are we going to publicize these so people know what times and dates the classes are?
Well, the good news is our Parks and Recreation and McMorran have an excellent marketing and public relations team who will, all media spectrums, whether it be social media, print media, working with the YMCA, will be able to get this information out to the community as well as in our annual newsletter.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I'd just like to know, I just became a newly elected board member of the YMCA, so I have to abstain according to our rules.
Okay. We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. That concludes the agenda. And just one item here that I'd like to acknowledge Kevin Watkins from the NAACP, who was included on the Stanley Legacy Wall of the museum with a celebration on Saturday, and he was honored by being an inductee to that wall. So I would like to congratulate him on that. He will be at our next council meeting anyways to receive a proclamation for 100 years. So we can also tell him congratulations at that time. Is there anything else to come before the council this evening?
Mayor Rep,
Yes.
if I may, I just finally had the opportunity to watch James represent us in Lansing, and I have to tell you that I was impressed at him taking on that subject, that challenge. He represented Port Huron very, very well-spoken. The best part, I think, was the fact that he really did a great job in making sure that this was not political. This was something that he stood up for the city of Port Huron, its employees, us as residents, and made us proud. So thank you, James.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Is there anything else? A motion to adjourn then.
So move.
Meeting adjourned.